Hey guys, and on the last question block video, I asked what games could utilize the Nintendo Switch 2's mouse capabilities. So, from what we've seen from the trailer and the leaks, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to have Joy-Cons that have a mouse functionality because of the optical sensor, and that opens up a lot of possibilities for different things that they could do in the games on the Switch 2, and that's what I'm going to be discussing here. So before we get started, I just wanted to mention that I have a goal to hit 30,000 subscribers before the Switch 2 launches, so if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing, and if I hit that goal, I will give away a copy of the new Mario Kart game. So let's get into the responses. So MyMy64 said, a WarioWare game that's similar to Move It. You would use the mouse to drag and select objects, but with some of Move It's mechanics where you'd have to twist, turn, or swing it. I know it may not work in handheld mode, but I imagine that's what Get It Together was for. Or they could make a sequel to that game, given how that's the only one out of the two to sell 1 million. Yeah, I definitely think a new WarioWare game is possible, since it has been 2 years. Well, later this year, it will be 2 years since Move It, and they usually seem to release these games on a 2 to 3 year cycle, and it would make a lot of sense to have a WarioWare game early in the life cycle of the Switch 2. I know they didn't do that for the Switch, even though like a WarioWare game would have made so much sense, like something like Move It would have made so much sense early on in the Switch's lifespan. But now we're at a point where WarioWare kind of made that comeback, since like Gold, Get It Together, and Move It, so I think it's definitely possible that we'd get like a new WarioWare game for this year, but definitely some point for the Switch 2. I think it would be great to see like a WarioWare game with like a mouse mechanic, because there's actually an indie game inspired by WarioWare that's actually doing a similar thing with Mindwave. It uses like both mouse and keyboard controls, and some of the micro games that utilize the mouse function really well, and I think a WarioWare game that kind of functions around that would work really well. So I really hope we see a WarioWare game sometime soon. And even though Move It sold poorly, I think that was due to the fact that they released it between two large Mario games, like with Mario Wonder and Mario RPG, and it was kind of hard to market it. But in the case of like a WarioWare game on Switch 2, I feel like they could possibly push it out a little better, either if it's a launch title or released shortly after launch. So yeah, I think that would probably work out a little better. But yeah, Clifford Longhead said Mario Maker 3, like Mario Paint on the SNES. That actually is a good comparison to make, since Mario Maker is kind of based on Mario Paint and would work really well with a mouse. Like, I know, like, they did technically have some kind of workaround on the Switch when using it in docked, but honestly, I never really did that. I always, whenever I made a level in Mario Maker 2, I always just took it out of the dock to make levels and things. So I think, like, having mouse support for the next Mario Maker game would be much better, and I think it would definitely utilize this feature really well. It's like, I feel like it's the perfect match for, like, this mouse feature and everything. I just think it would definitely work out. I'd even like to see, like, a revival of Mario Paint as well. I think that would be pretty cool. So, Giyoshi said Super Mario Maker 3, Metroid Prime 4, and some DS releases. For re-releases, Mario Paint and Mario & Wario release, Yoshi's Safari, and other NES Zapper Super Scope games could work. And Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. Yeah, I think all of those games would work really well. I already mentioned Mario Maker 3, that's like a perfect match for the mouse. Metroid Prime 4 would be pretty cool as well, since, I think that would be cool to have, like, mouse controls, like with Metroid Prime, being able to move around, like, the camera, with the mouse and everything. I think that would be, or your point of view, technically, with the mouse. I think that would work really well. That's another game that, like, technically never really had, like, any instance where it would have mouse support in the past that would work perfectly with it. And also, like, DS re-releases. Yes, I think DS and Nintendo Switch Online could work really well, even if there isn't any kind of, like, cast functionality with the Switch 2, like, with how people are speculating that the C button may be a cast, if that even is a C button. But I think DS could work anyway because of that potential mouse feature. And then Mario Paint, like I said, that would definitely be perfect on SNES Online as well as Mario and Wario. I think that might be what that data mine possibly was for. They were just testing it out ahead of time. Like, maybe once they like update it to have Mario Paint and Mario and Wario that have like the Joy-Con mouse support, they could also like update it simultaneously for the base Switch to have like a USB mouse support. I think that would be really nice. And then also, the NES Zapper and Super Scope games, I think that's also a really cool thing that they could do, because that could actually work pretty well. Like Duck Hunt and Yoshi Safari, like you mentioned, I think that would be really cool. It would be nice to finally see Duck Hunt be re-released again after quite a while. The last time was, I think, the Wii U, if I remember correctly. I'm not sure exactly. Sushi could possibly correct me on this. But it's been a while since Duck Hunt has been re-released. And then Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, that actually got a trademark update thing recently. So that might possibly be what it's for. That game might be getting a remaster on the Switch too. I think that would be really nice to see, especially for like improved visuals and everything, since you wouldn't be looking at a 480p screen to be able to play it. You would actually be seeing it like on the TV screen when you're using like a potential mouse functionality for it. I think that would be perfect. So Pixelated Gecko said, I could see them make a new IP that fully utilizes and showcases the mouse capabilities like Wii Sports and Nintendo Land did for their respective consoles. Somewhat off topic, I could also see third-party games barely using the feature, if at all. I'm not sure about that, because I think, like, with third-party things, like, I could see, like, a lot of indie games making use of that, and I could even see it being easier for some indie games to bring over, like, some games that were on PC over to Switch 2, because of, like, this potential, like, mouse support and everything. Like I mentioned earlier with, like, Mindwave, that could potentially come over to Switch 2 because, well, whenever that game releases, because of, like, the mouse functionality and everything. I know there technically is the keyboard stuff as well, but I feel like they could possibly change that out to be, like, buttons and everything. I could see it working, but I think, like, certain indie games could make use of it, as well as, like, some third-party shooters as well. I could see them making use of it, but I don't know. If Nintendo pushes this out as a big feature, then I could possibly see more third-party games, like, utilizing it, but it just depends on how Nintendo markets it. And then also, like, a new IP, I definitely think that's inevitable. We'll probably see something, like, released at launch that utilizes this feature, kind of like how Snipper Clips did for, like, the Switch, kind of like passing over a Joy-Con to someone, and using, like, the different features of a Joy-Con, like, 1-2 Switch. But I feel like it would probably be more involved than, like, 1-2 Switch. I think it's going to be more of, like, rather than, like, multiplayer-oriented, I could see it be more gameplay-oriented rather than, like, that abstract sort of thing they were doing for 1-2 Switch. I could definitely see them doing something more kind of game-oriented, like Nintendo Land or Wii Play, kind of like that, I would say. But yeah. So V-Man said, a new Splatoon game is the clear standout for the new mouse-like controls. The series already heavily benefits from gyro aiming, so having a second, more traditional aiming method available seems like the perfect use case for this feature. I agree. I think Splatoon would work really well with, like, this mouse functionality and everything. And they probably were even, like, thinking about that, like, with Splatoon's popularity and everything, and with the fact that, like, mouse controls are, like, very good for, like, shooters and everything. I think Nintendo possibly had that in mind, and possibly is what could have even influenced this feature to become a thing. I could even possibly see like an update for like Splatoon 3, if that's even possible. I know there's probably going to be some Splatoon fans saying, I don't think they could do that at this point. Because yeah, it is a little too far after Splatoon 3 is released to get any sort of like big update or anything. But a new Splatoon game like a few years from now, I could see it utilizing it pretty well. So, Foggle the Great 64 said, Super Mario Maker 3 and a Super Paper Mario remake. Also might be wishful thinking, but I hope they might add functionality to Art Attack in the Thousand Year Door remake. I feel like it was already a missed opportunity to not have the option to do touchscreen for that attack in handheld mode. Yeah. Since I already mentioned Mario Maker 3, I wanted to talk a little bit about, like, Super Paper Mario here. I think that would be pretty cool. Like, I don't think we're gonna get a Super Paper Mario remake anytime soon, but if they were to do, like, some kind of remaster, because Nintendo's doing, like, a lot of, like, remasters of, like, Wii games and 3DS games and things, I could see, like, a Super Paper Mario remake, or remaster, possibly happening. That doesn't add too much, maybe tweaks some of the little flaws in Super Paper Mario and kind of upscales it and gives it like uncompressed sprites and textures and things. So like I could possibly see something like that for Super Paper Mario, like the kind of fill the gap like in the next couple of years before a new Paper Mario game. But I think it would work pretty well if they did like mouse controls, like you could put the Joy-Con down then use it like a mouse to do the pointer functionality that Super Paper Mario had with Tippy when you're tattling different things. I think that would work really well. And then also, like, with the Thousand Year Door remake, that would be really cool if they added, like, a little secret, little extra thing, in the Datamine 4K update that I could possibly have. Like, where you could do it with Art Attack. That would be cool, like, as a little Easter egg or something. I know that they'll never do it, but I think that would be cool if they just added that in as like a little bonus alongside like whatever like 4K update it gets. So yeah, DG said, I think a good game for the Switch 2 mouse would be some kind of new Game Builder Garage made by the same devs. Oh, I agree. I think they should even update Game Builder Garage to support like the mouse functionality of the Joy-Cons, because it already supports like a USB mouse, and that's actually what I've used to like make some of the games. It's been a long time since I've made a game in Game Builder Garage. I've mostly been playing other people's games, but that's what I mainly used to make games in Game Builder Garage. That is like the best way to make them, in my opinion. So I think it would work really well for like the original, and then also like for like a new game, like a sequel to Game Builder Garage. I really hope they do that, because I feel like there's a lot of things they could add to Game Builder Garage that would work pretty well, like a lot of new Nodon and different things that would kind of expand the scope. Also, like, I could do a whole discussion about like a Game Builder Garage sequel, but like, they could add so many things to that, but that would work perfectly with the mouse functionality, kind of like Mario Maker. Like, I could see Nintendo doing, like, a lot of creative games and things on the lines of, like, Mario Maker, Mario Paint, and Game Builder Garage. I think that would be really cool. Maybe, like, on the topic, going back to WarioWare, the next WarioWare, or even the WarioWare after, like, whatever gimmicky one they do, the kind of release alongside the console that I was kind of mentioning, they could do something like WarioWare DIY, like a kind of, like, a sequel to that game. I think that would be really cool as well. So there are a lot of possibilities for this. So I really hope Nintendo takes advantage of it. I really hope this isn't like the thing with like the HD Rumble in the Switch where like, oh, you could feel the ice cubes in the Joy-Cons, or the even better, the IR motion camera in the Switch on the Joy-Con, where they like barely ever used it. I really hope it's not like that. I hope they actually utilize this feature. But yeah, anyways, the next question is, what was your favorite memory with the original Switch? Since this era of Nintendo is kind of coming to a close, I kind of want to hear what your favorite memory is. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky!